Hello everybody, and welcome to Judge Mathas, and on trial today stands a game in early access in a later beta build called Starpoint Gemini 2. Before you ask, I have never played Starpoint Gemini 1, I don't intend to, it's about 4 years old, and I would be doing myself a disservice by putting all that time into Starpoint Gemini 1 when I'm told Starpoint Gemini 2 takes all the criticisms of the first one and attempts to rectify or implement a lot of the changes that a lot of the consumers wanted. So I was reached out by the dev to take a look at Starpoint Gemini 2, and I said sure, it looked pretty promising. A lot of the early Steam reviews by the people who own the game are very excited about it, and really seem to enjoy it so far. But I kind of take that with a grain of salt, because that could just be some really die-hard fans who bought in and just really liked the game, so it didn't mean anything to me. So I'm going in with the perspective of somebody who's never played the series before. It was described to me, and the way I would describe it to somebody after playing it, is a hearty mix of RPG elements in character building, skills, perks, leveling, etc. Freelancer, the old late 90s game, and something along the lines of the X series in its openness and sandbox options. All of those are actually incredibly good ways to describe it. As of right now, there is only one mode in the game, and that is free roam. Later there will be scenarios and storyline and all that good stuff, but right now in the beta, it is free roam. You are given the option of just popping in. We could take a look at the new game. We'll go to free roam, hit next, of 3 classes: Commander, Gunner, and Engineer. They all play very differently. An engineer, think of an engineer as a way as kind of like a debuffer. You're hacking systems, you're like making the ship worse, and then you can kind of kill it from there. A gunner is quite simply a ship that is going to destroy things with its abilities to make their guns reload faster, hit harder, so on and so forth. And a commander is somebody for a player who wants to kind of create a fleet of ships that's going to follow them around, like a pet class, so is a good way to explain it. I've read and seen that the commander class isn't working as intended yet, so creating a fleet of ships is not entirely all that possible. That might be something I would really like later on down the line. I might come back and play as the commander once it's fully released. But for now, I ended up picking the gunner. The cool thing is I have played around a little bit with 2 of the classes, and they are incredibly different in the way they play. And it's definitely cool to kind of check them all out. It's heavily influenced by the RPG aspect, depending on the class you pick, so that's cool. If we go over here in this menu, the first thing I want to point out, and one of the things I noticed right here, is this mods option. So it seems right away that Starpoint Gemini is going to be very mod friendly. And any game, in my opinion, that allows itself to be modded from the community to fix whatever issues or implement new ships or implement new gameplay elements is already gets a tentative thumbs up from me. I just love when indie devs allow the community to do what they want with their game. There's so much creativity there that can be exploited. Look at Minecraft, look at Project Zomboid, hell, look at Skyrim, so on and so forth. It allows for a lot. So let's dive in. Let's talk about what this game is presenting, what it's trying to do, how well it does it, some of my complaints, because I do have a few, and what I think of the game in its current state. So we're going to load up a game that I've been playing. I only have one autosave, apparently. I forgot to manually save the other one, but whatever. And let's go ahead and load it up. This is my gunner game. This is where I'm playing with my gunner ship. And the ship they end up giving you early on in the game is incredibly powerful, at least that's what I've seen. I was able to take on 3 ships that were classified as deadly without taking any hull damage. So if you end up picking up this game and are going to go into free roam mode, I highly suggest, if you want a challenge, to sell your ship, buy a shittier ship, and go off and pretend that you have a shitty ship and you have to work your way up. So we're going to undock here, and this is our main menu. This is how it looks immediately. With the left click button, I can drag around the nose of the ship and kind of move the camera around. If I press V, I go into turret mode, which allows me to actually do a little bit more circling around. And immediately, the game actually looks pretty damn good. I don't think there's a way to do it. I've been messing around for a little bit on trying to figure out how. I love the ability to zoom in and out. The scroll wheel doesn't do that. The scroll wheel messes with your engine's power. But I love the ability to scroll in and out. I feel like I am just a little bit too far in for combat, and I would like to scroll out. But when I'm sitting here idling, maybe looking at graphs and trying to figure out what I want to do next, I'd love to zoom in and look at the ship a little bit closer, especially since there's a level of customization to the ships themselves. If that's implemented, it was not presented clearly through the tutorials. The tutorials themselves are just text boxes as well. They're not fully fleshed out tutorials yet. They do get the point across. They do teach you the basics, but other than that, that's about it. So what do we have here as far as our HUD? The HUD is pretty self-explanatory. Well, it's pretty easy to understand once you understand what you're looking at. It's not overly difficult, so to speak. So down on the left-hand side, we have our captain's main abilities. These all augment our combat in some way. For instance, this one right here is gives you fast reload, rearm, envelop, nanocharge. It just does a good chunk of stuff. Only affects heavy weapons, though. This over here, for instance, is power save. It's basically beam manipulation. Your beam weapons are going to be more effective. This right here only affects railguns. Your railguns are going to do more damage. You're going to hit more. They're going to have a higher accuracy, etc., etc. That's what all this is about. Over here is just like the stuff that has limited use for a while. This is our energy defense field. Gives us 25% resistance to energy damage. Over here we have a shield booster, which is going to give us extra 400% shields for a few seconds. Again, pretty self-explanatory. It's hotkey systems, almost as though you're playing an RPG. Pretty easy. Over here, we have our ship's layout and what we have on our ship. We do have the weapons and the different engines and different modifications that we have. A grappler, for instance, is something that you can shoot out at lance up on a ship. And we got some ships flying by. What do we have? Trivial difficulty, alarming difficulty, and trivial. We could probably take all 4 of them if we really wanted to. Yeah, so Grappler kind of does, like, shoots out and launches and latches onto a ship that you're fighting, and it doesn't allow the ship to get too far away from you. So if you're a close-range ship that needs to stay close to remain accurate and do the most damage, that's what that's going to be for. Other things like sensors, which allow you to see a greater distance on your minimap, and, you know, kind of pretty self-explanatory what sensors are. Shield generator for your shields. We've got ourselves some weapons, a power core, how much power we have to play with, propulsion systems, transporter, cloaking field, and shredder. We'll talk about combat in a little bit. So that's the basics laid out over here. I don't need to see the tutorials. Another thing we could do is we can actually hover over our ship and allocate power. So we do have the ability to say, I want all power to the engines, or all power to the weapons, and all power to the shields. For somebody like me who's such a massive Star Trek nerd, the ability to even manipulate simple things like that does not go by me. I love that. I love being able to, while I'm traveling, to just jam up my power to the engines, or in combat, you know, pull most power from the engines as long as I have the person grappled, divert most of my power to the weapons while still maintaining a decent amount of power in the shields while fighting. I love that a lot. That's really cool. Over here, we have a lot of basics. So we have our star map. It's our star chart. This is the map. You can right-click to drag around. It's pretty damn big. This is the Gemini sector, the sector in the game that we're going to be playing, with all kinds of starports and science facilities and planets and stuff. Up here is a lot of layers. Basically, if I don't want to see, say, for instance, where we have any active quests or quests at all, I can click this and get rid of it. If I want to see the reputation chart, I can turn it on. Basically, see if I'm liked in this area or if I'm not. If I want to see asteroid fields or not, I can turn those on and off. You get the picture. Pretty easy. Then we have ourselves our captain info. This is my captain himself. He's a gunner. He's a level 3 apprentice. Actually, that means I didn't save it when he was level 5. Oh well. How much experience I have, what ship I'm running, what my alignment is as of right now, and credits. So one of the cool things about this game, and again, you can see the influence it takes from things like Freelancer and the X series, not the XCOM series, the X series, is its reputation system. The more good things you do for, say, a particular faction or a government or whatever, the more reputation you're going to have in your favor. To the point where, if we take a look over here, factions are going to like you or they're not. So the reputation system is something I want to talk about because of the way they do it. It's pretty simple, but it's effective, I think, is the way I want to kind of word that. So the way the reputation system is kind of put together is it's all static. There it goes up to 2,500 and minus 2,500. And certain factions will either hate you, remain neutral to you, or are considered your allies, depending where on that scale you fall. So, for instance, the Ionian Pact, whoever the hell they are, well, there you go. You can figure out by just hovering over. Are almost my allies. We're in the neutral zone with them right now. But they're almost my allies, and if I do a few more good things to up my reputation in this world, they can become my allies. What comes with that? Presumably they'll help me in fights, cheaper prices, all kinds of good stuff. But since this game is wide open and sandboxy like X, like Freelancer, I can play the pirate. So if we go over to the hostile, who hates me, most of these guys are criminal organizations, I can do horrendous things in the galaxy and become friends, because they like me or are my allies lower, with basically enemy and pirate things. Now there are a few who are hostile to you no matter what, it doesn't matter, but I can become a pirate, and I can have the normal people hate me, which is kind of cool. So that's kind of how the alliance system works. Pretty simple, right? And how much money I have, how many credits I have. These are the bonuses I get for being in the class and because of my level. So I have 8% radiation resistance, and I have a chance to shoot through shields, only affects railguns, and that comes from one of my crew, which we'll get to in a little bit. Also, is a nice little graph here for finances. It allows me to see how much money I've been making and spending and so on and so forth. Pretty simple. So, with that out of the way, with the UI kind of explained, before we get into the nitty-gritty of what Starpoint Gemini really kind of offers, I guess the question has to be, and you should be asking, what is Starpoint Gemini? What is that all about? Why do we care? Well, it's definitely targeted at the people who enjoy sandbox space games. It's been a long time since we had a really good one. In fact, the one I had my eye on for a while was X Rebirth. I was really, really excited for that game. What X Rebirth had promised was basically the next evolution in the X franchise. Unfortunately, what it was and what it turned out to be was a step backward. It was buggy as hell. It was broken. It didn't have the freedom to be in whatever ship you wanted. It only locked you into one ship, amongst a myriad of other problems. The good thing is that the sandbox genre just in the gaming scene, not just the indie gaming scene, is having a massive resurgence. It is becoming incredibly popular again, and it's allowing all these wonderful, cool little games to come out. Starpoint Gemini 2 being one of them. It aims to be that solid mix, as I said, between X and something like Freelancer. In free roam mode, the galaxy is working with or without you. There are alliances. There are events firing off throughout the galaxy that are affecting the prices of different things. There are fights happening. There are buildings being lost that are production plants being lost that skyrocket prices. The idea behind these games is to just eke out your way in this world, doing whatever you see fit. So for me, one of my favorite things to do in these things is to play it one of two ways. I either want to play as the pirate who gets a really shitty ship early on, and kind of just hits little targets throughout the galaxy here and there, maybe a freighter that's not being defended, or maybe a couple of really shitty scout ships that are probably too far away from their home base. Tackle them, attack them, blow them up, or take them over, because those are both options, and sell all their crap for scrap for the next good weapon or for the next good ship that I can get. All of that's possible. Or I like to play the good guy who goes out and hunts those bad guys who do that.
I suggest checking the star chart, Captain. New missions are available.
So I like to go out and play... Oh, she's still talking and she's bothering me. Oh, this is not where I wanted to go. Sorry about that. We will continue moving around here. We'll go there.
Yes, sir.
So, or I like to play the good guy, going to hunt out all those guys and make my money by picking up bounties. There is actually a bounty system where there are named enemies around that when you look at the bounty, it says last seen in this system. You can go to that system and you can kind of try to hunt them down. So the ability to play as a good guy is there. But a lot like X and a lot like Freelancer and so forth, you can also play the game in such a way that you are non-combative. You can just play as a trader. If you're one of those fans of just kind of playing the market and playing the game against itself, you can just go around the galaxy, look for products that are priced really low in one particular part of the world, and then go to another part where maybe the demand is really high and sell them for a lot of money, potentially upsetting the balance of power a little bit if that's how you end up playing. All of that is an option in Starpoint Gemini 2. It's all very much an option. So the important aspect of the important question is, how much freedom is the game going to give you? Well, let's take a look at how much freedom it's going to give me. Let's go to these guys and let's go attack them. They're not doing anything right now, but we can go to them right now if we really want. Okay, why is he going that way? All right, well, let's manually control our ship, which we can do with WAS and D if we so choose. And let's see if we can fire off on them here. I don't know if we're going to be able to catch them. Because my... Alright, there it is. Can I... There we go. Grapple them with my grappling beam. Bump it up and let it go. So, we're going to go ahead and hit F. You can manually fire with the mouse buttons. Right mouse button does like your energy weapons, while you hit like X for heavy weapons. But I'm going to hit F, and you're going to let my ship do its own thing. Letting the stats decide. Right away, the way combat looks is a little bit Star Trek-y in my opinion. I like that a lot. The beam weapons are bright, things have that kind of pulse laser sound, and the visuals are pretty damn good. So we're going to go ahead and attack him. And there he goes, he's died. We actually leveled up on that. He blows up, and now we have the opportunity to loot the hell out of whatever he had. So we're going to click collect all, and we'll pick it all up, and it went in our inventory. Now, we kind of could take that and go to the nearest system, or the nearest star base, if we open up our map, and we can go sell this for some money. Always useful. Is Almeida a place we can go to? We'll go check.
Yes, sir.
I don't know, I'm not very familiar with the star maps themselves.
Executing PTE protocols.
But we're going to go ahead and start flying towards there and see if that's somewhere we can go.
New missions are offered.
So, that's the kind of freedom you have. You can just attack whatever the hell you want. Now, obviously, your decisions are going to affect your reputation, are going to affect your alignment, and all of that's going to be taken into account when you're dealing with different alliances and factions and so on and so forth. But that kind of freedom is appreciated, especially when somebody touts itself as a sandbox game, obviously. You want to kind of test that. So, how's the gameplay? How does it feel? Well, the combat, I think, feels really good. I'm the kind of guy who plays this more like an RPG, and you have the options to not necessarily play it like an RPG, obviously. I'm actually curious if joystick support is allowed. I never checked because I don't have a joystick. But I'm the kind of guy who likes to play it as an RPG. I like to go in and just let my ship fire off while letting the numbers do all the work, and either take it out or run away if I have to. I'll manually control the way my character... or the way my ship maneuvers if things get a little bit hectic, but I will never manually manage my weapons because I think it's a lot more effective to let the ship do it itself. But it plays really well. As you can see visually, it's got a very cool sci-fi feel. In fact, that's one of my favorite aspects of the game so far, and I don't know if you could tell, but I'm incredibly surprised by this game. I had never heard of it before, and I did a little research, and people kind of liked the first game, but the second game, even in early access, people are in love with, which is really good. I'm happy about that. This is being touted as maybe like the X game that X Rebirth should have been, in a lot of different ways. But I'm the kind of guy, like I said, when I play, I like to, my finances are down, my current monthly income. Let's just talk about my monthly income. My finances are down because I'm paying somebody, which I'll show you in a minute here. Actually, can I show you now? So this is my fleet. I don't have a fleet right now. We're not going to worry about the fleet stuff. You can just look at my equipment items from the fleet, cargo, and my current ship, etc., etc. Actually, here's the officers. So one of the things you can do in that RPG-esque fashion is improve your statistics. And you could do that by giving you kind of like purchasing buffs. And buffs are represented by crew. So I hired, last time I was playing, Carmine Blaine. He allows, I don't know if it'll show it here. Yep, there it is. He allows the 8% radiation resistance, as well as a chance to shoot through my shields, through shields by 2%. Now, I bought him for a flat rate of 100, almost 2,000 credits, but he also has a salary, and his salary is 189 credits every, I think, month, in-game month that passes. So it costs money for you to keep people around, which incentivizes you to go out and make money within the world. And as you make money and you're doing things, you're influencing the galaxy itself. You can all see how it kind of all wraps up neatly. You can have 4 officers: tactical, navigation, and special. I don't know what special is. I haven't actually dealt with that yet. The other thing I want to show you, if it's around, is skills and perks. So these are obviously my skills and perks. I have 3 skill points. I don't know. Okay, yeah, so you can, there it is. Sorry, I actually ended up putting them in here. I didn't want to. Accidentally, but whatever. So you put your skill points in certain things. So if I want to be really good at beam manipulation, which is what I did, I can then put my skill points in these things. So like I can put it in sniper. So now my weapon range is 10% higher. There's a lot of customization that goes into your character itself. There's a lot of depth here. You can kind of focus your character on certain things. So for instance, if I want to be a ship that doesn't use the grapple, who stays really far away from the enemy, who uses my maneuverability to my advantage while keeping great distance and firing lasers from really far, this is the kind of specialization I'm looking into getting into, beam manipulation. On the other hand, if I'm a heavy hitter, Maybe I want to stay close. I'm going to grapple him. I'm going to go with heavy hitter skills and do something with this. There are also perks in the game. I don't have any perk points as of yet, but there's a lot of choices here. What do I want to be? Do I want to be a scoundrel? If I am a scoundrel, reduce target accuracy and critical hit chance by 4% in my first level. Maybe I want to be a miner because I can go mining if I really want to. I get more mining yield, 5% more. Maybe I'm a scavenger. One of the cool things is, as you fight ships, there's a chance that the ship doesn't blow up. It becomes a derelict ship. You will then be able to send off salvaging nanobots to that ship to pull in useful tech and useful stuff. You will also stumble across derelict ships from combats that have happened without you even present. See what I'm saying? The sandbox is real, ladies and gentlemen. It's pretty cool. And there's a whole bunch of options here. Vessel sizes, how good you transport railguns. There's a lot. There's a whole lot here. So let's go ahead and we can go and right click and we're going to go ahead and do an anchor. We can dock up with a fleet. And then we have a bunch of other options here. There's going to be news that ticks across what's going on in the galaxy at the moment. So that's important to keep your eye on if you're into that. So we have a bunch of options here. We can go to the shipyard. The shipyard will allow us to purchase ships. Unfortunately, they only have 2 ships available. The Philadelphia, which is incredibly powerful. And thank goodness they actually have a compare button here. I can compare to the ship I'm currently flying. This one is actually a little bit better than the one I'm carrying. That might be why it's 2 million credits. I need to be a petty officer, which I am. It's the manufacturer as the company. So if I'm not within the Trinity Free States and I can find, and I go to the Trinity Free States zone, I might be able to buy this cheaper. I don't know if I am or not. It's class, what ship class it is, so it's the same class as mine. It actually is, I mean, it's not terribly better. It's got more cargo and has more room for troopers, but that's about it. I could sell mine off for 500,000, but it still wouldn't be enough to purchase this. And then there's a really cheap one, the Shanghai. If we take a look at the Shanghai, yeah, I could, trade my ship in. What I could do is hit that purchase button, and what'll happen is I'll trade my ship in, and I'll get the money back. Because right now I only have 28,000 credits to my name. I still can't afford this. But if I trade it in, I'll get the ship, and then I'll get like a 200,000 credits back in change, essentially, for trading in my ship. But this is one of those like super cheap, super hurting ships. 700 hull, cargo's 30, troopers 15. Way worse than what I'm running right now. It's a gunship. It's going to be more about maneuverability than anything else. You can also buy new systems if we want to fit out our systems here. What the systems have in this ship compared to the ones that I have. Obviously, mine's going to be a bit better. Mine has a cloaking field, while this one does not. Mine has 4 weapons, while this one has 1. Again, this ship is a lot worse. And my presumption, or what I'd like to see, actually, is in free roam mode, them giving me a way worse ship. Because the ship that they give me is fucking amazing right off the bat. I told you already, I could fight off like 3 or 4 ships without even taking a scratch to my hull. So what else do we've got? We've got dry dock. If we want to dry dock, we can take a look and basically dock up our ship essentially and equip and buy weapons. Change the way our ship looks. So there's color customization. How much glossiness do we want? How much reflection do we want? Then if we want to name our ship, do we want to change the logo, etc., etc.? That's a cool logo. So that's always, that's always pleasant to have the ability to customize your ship within the world and all kinds of other good things. Then we have ourselves Trader. So this is where we could sell off our stuff. So what does he have to buy that we could buy cheap that might, sell better somewhere else? And again, what's really nice too is that I can hover over these things and it'll give me a quick tooltip explaining what these are. So, medicines right here, pretty cheap. Somewhere else, I mean, it's like a more poor version of part of the galaxy, I might be able to sell medicines really, really high. But what I'm going to look at here is what I can sell. Nothing I have is selling for an incredible price. So I, realistically might want to hang on to this stuff. But again, my cargo is full. I'm completely full on my cargo. So I'm going to go ahead and just sell it all and empty out my cargo completely. I'm not terribly concerned about it. What else can we do here? Well, there's news. We could definitely take a look at the news, the Gemini news that was ticking up here. We actually could take a look at it right within dock. And we can hire hirelings, troopers rather, which we're already maxed out at already. And this is where we can hire more officers as well, which is nice. Wormhole damage, which when you go through wormhole, it actually shifts you to a whole other part of the galaxy. I think it might be randomly, I'm not entirely sure, but also damages your ship. What does he do? Gunship and Corvette-sized vessels, 10% evasion. and the enemy's target accuracy goes down, and then she could just gives me better accuracy and damage. Don't really need these people so much. So what are troopers? Well, one of the things you can do in this game is instead of just blowing up a ship, you can board an enemy ship and take it over. So one of the cool things I've done in the past is, we're going to go ahead and undry dock here, and we'll just boost our engines and start flying around a bit, is anchored a ship with my grappling, kept him close, and then if I click my mouse button, it brings up a bunch of options. One of the options is to board. You click board, and then it shoots a beam across, and it starts, and there's a little thing that pops up over here. If I can do it, I'll show you. What eventually starts happening is, actually, there's a ship around here somewhere. What happens is your troopers start going over. So we're going to actually go and approach him. I would like to approach him anyway. I don't know if I can. Does not look like it. Can I approach him? I can't. Let's see if we can just go there ourselves. We'll see if we can cut him off and catch him. So we're going to target... Actually, he might be... he's closer. So let's go down that way. So yeah, it'll send over my troopers, and they'll start taking out weapon systems, taking out shields, until they eventually, hopefully, they'll actually end up taking over the ship. And then that ship will follow you wherever you go. Typically, what I like to do is you have a couple of options. I'm sorry, I got a little off track there. The options consists of being. Let's go ahead and crank up to our engines there. Energy to engines. See if we can catch up. Ah, he's getting away. He's too quick. Maybe we can get it to them. You can sell the ship for scrap completely, or you can garage it, put it in your garage, and then maybe if you lose your ship, you have something to go back to. Or if you want to switch it up for maybe different missions, certain things are better. And that's a really cool option to have. I would really like to be able to maybe grab hold of him. So we can start boarding now. I would like to... There we go. We're going to go ahead and grapple him, and then we're going to go ahead and give him the boarding option. So you can see we're doing some boarding over there, and we're going to start seeing some... we'll keep up with him. He's going to fire at me. He's not going to be able to do anything. We're going to keep sending the troops over until we are fully bored, and then hopefully we'll be able to take him out. Now, I have auto fire off, obviously. I don't want to do any damage to... I don't want to do any damage to it. If I could take it over, that'll be the best. So we're going to keep on boarding and hope it's going to work. Boarding failed. We lost troopers. So we didn't actually end up doing it. So we're going to go ahead and turn our weapons on and start destroying this thing. So that can happen. The boarding can just fail if it doesn't work, which is totally fine, because then we can just wreck it, because this thing is trivial in its threat. One of the things I don't know if I actually said fully, but one of the things I really like is the way it displays information. It's very smooth and cool and very sci-fi looking by hovering over it and just having the information pop up on the side. And looks like he's gonna... Yep, there he goes. He's dead. So I really wanted to take over the ship. It didn't end up happening. So there we go. I actually turned it to a derelict ship. So if we right-click on this, we can actually do a scan of it and see if we get any information off of it, which I don't think we will. Doesn't look like it. And then we can send scavenging nanobots. This little bat thing shows up over here. I don't know if the scavenging nanobots are fully implemented in the game yet, but that's something you can do. Or another option you can do is just blow the hell out of it. So we'll go ahead and fire at will and blow it up. And then we'll take whatever was useful out of it. Collect all. Looks like we got a few things. So you might be wondering, well, Mathas, well, this is all fine and dandy, right? But what if I don't want to just wander around and affect the galaxy? I mean, free roam sounds cool, but what can I do? Well, I have you covered. One of the things they'll do in free roam is give you freelancer missions. Freelancer missions pop up everywhere. Now, right now, the variety isn't that great. It's about 4 or 5 different types of missions, and they basically boil down to courier missions or escorting missions, where you take one thing from point A to point B, or blow up ships kinds of missions. I would personally like to see a little bit more variety in them. They are classified as different types of missions, but generally speaking, they're a little bit too repetitive from what I've seen so far. That is always subject to change. Let's see what this one is right here. It's a level 4 assassination. Let's go ahead and take that one, and then we'll head down there. Go to.
Yes, sir. Acquiring new coordinates.
And we'll go ahead and do that. But there are missions throughout. That's the way to make money. You don't have to chase down random bounties that are posted or do trading or anything if you don't want to. You can take these missions. So don't worry there, they have you covered there. On top of that, the world is gigantic. Who's attacking me right now? Oh, they're being attacked.
New missions are available.
Whoa, slow down here. They are being bombarded right now. Oh, and he just crashed into me. Holy shit. So he's being bombarded by NPCs. So NPCs, if it's a criminal, they are not afraid to just start destroying the shit out of the enemy ship. And I'm actually having a bit of frame drop right now. I was running at smooth 60 frames. Now I'm running at like 16. You can probably notice. I don't know why. It might be like too many freaking weapons on the screen. It looks really good. It's just running really poorly. With beta, there's still optimization to be done. You know, it's not done. That caveat is obviously still there. Can I grapple him? I can't even grapple him right now. I can't even do anything. Well, he's dead. So we did it. We didn't really do anything, but we did it. And yeah, it had to have been the weapons. My frame rate's going right back up again. Interesting. So, I know I said I had complaints, and I'm going to talk about them right now. One of the main complaints I have, obviously, is the mission system. The mission system in the in free roam mode, there's not a whole lot of variety in the missions. It sounds like there is like 3 or 4 different types, or 4 or 5 or whatever. They all basically boil down to go kill something or take something from point A to point B. Not that great. One of my bigger ones, the one that kind of gets me, is the way the camera is controlled. It's really kind of floaty. So, as I was saying earlier, I can kind of like maneuver my ship by left-clicking and dragging the mouse. Or if I hit V, I can actually just kind of, you know, look around. So this is really kind of sluggish, delayed, and floaty. I don't like that I have to drag my mouse further for it to work like that, and the weird arrows that show up. It feels just kind of sluggish and delayed. I'm not happy about it. What I would prefer is something more along the lines of any other kind of third-person action game that I can look at my character, maybe in like a MMO or something, where I can just click and drag, and the cursor disappears or whatever, and I'm just looking around, and the mouse moves as fast as I'm moving the mouse. I think the problem is, it's not, basically the camera's not moving as fast as I'm moving it. It's moving at its own pace and picking up speed as I go, which leads to a level of inaccuracy within camera movement, and especially within ship movement if I'm controlling the ship directly, that can really frustrate me and make me lose track of what the hell's going on. I need that camera control. I really, really do. Moreover, I'd love the ability to zoom out, or at least make it clear how to zoom out. I don't think that's possible right now. I can't give a real final verdict on the game outside of that it's looking very promising. It looks like I could have a lot of fun with it. I kind of want to see the story mode. I want to see it finished. I want to see the scavenging done and all these other features that they are promising being implemented. But for a beta stage game this far along in development, it is looking really good. I would keep your eye on it. I will put the link to in the description below to the Steam thing. If you are a fan of the X series, if you are a fan of Freelancer or any of Chris Roberts' old stuff, this is kind of a throwback to that with their own unique RPG twist. The sound design is so far really nice. I really like the nice sharp beeps and boops, I guess, that come along with the game. The presentation of being able to click on something and having like the description of that ship just show up right there that tells me what like immediate pertinent information about that ship is awesome. I think the only thing that would make this game better for me as far as immersion is concerned is a cockpit view, which I can't really expect. I don't think that was something they ever planned to. It's not really what they're looking to do. But these types of games, I love to just dive in and like be in the cockpit and feel like I'm controlling it. But for what it is and for the price they're charging, keep an eye on this thing. This thing looks really, really promising. I know it's just basically me going over the features of the game, but it looks good, it sounds good, and it plays pretty good too. There goes that guy's salary again. It's definitely a game that I think, with a bit more polishing and a bit more implementation of the features that they've been promising, touting, this game is gonna be worth playing for any fan of a sandbox space sim genre, especially like I said, X and Freelancer. That trading, that living galaxy, that feeling of being immersed into this world that is moving with or without you, that you can influence through your actions directly, is here. And I can't wait to maybe dive in for more hours and really get to the nitty gritty. But for playing only for about 2 hours and kind of understanding how the game works, I'm really impressed, and I'd keep your eye on it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know, the jury, what you guys think in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you come back every day for more videos just like it, and consider leaving a like. It helps me a great deal. And as always, I'll see all of you guys next time. Bye-bye.